What's going on, everybody, in the six-figure marketing hacks for Salon and Beauty Pros group? Today, I have a very, very special guest for you guys. His name is Kris Trinity, and he's going to be dropping some bombs on you guys. This is one of the probably most exciting interviews that I'm excited for because Kris actually has inspired me tremendously in this space. From one of our business coaches we work with, I saw a video in a masterclass from you, Kris, and I was like, man, this guy's crushing it. I got to see what he's up to. And so I've personally stolen some of your strategies myself. So hopefully the people here today can also get some value from it too. But Kris, what is going on, my man? How are you? You're in London right now, right?
I am. That's right. Yeah. So special guest live and direct from London. Am I the guest from the most furthest away that you've interviewed before?
I don't think we have had anyone out the U.S. yet, so you
Great.
get to ring the bell for that one.
Yeah. All right.
But what's going on, man? So if you don't mind, Kris, why don't you, I'll of course introduce you a little bit here as well. You've worked with 600 aesthetic practitioners and med spa owners in the U.S. and the U.K. And your basically value proposition, you help to deliver 10 new paying customers per week, every single week to your clients. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. 100%.
Awesome. And you have, you're taking over 30 clinics from 0 to 10,000 per month consistently right now. And you're also doing some public speaking to hundreds of clinic and med spa owners across the UK, collaborating with the top medical device manufacturers on how to help their customers increase their sales. So that's awesome, man. I'm super excited you're here. How about you let us know a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and why you're here, Kris?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, first of all, Jordan, thanks a lot for having me. So what we do, we basically, we work specifically with aesthetic clinic owners and also med spa owners. In the UK, we call them aesthetic clinic owners. Over in the US, I know you have med spas and you call them med spas, which is cool. So we work with clinic owners, med spas, and what we do is we basically help them to drive more customers into their business. So we do that by running an advertising agency and running adverts for a variety of different treatments, including things like injectable treatments like lip fillers and Botox, things like using medical devices like laser hair removal, cool sculpting. You guys call it over there, we call it fat freezing over here. Just loads and loads of different treatments, man. So in the past year, I think we spent probably roughly about, well, in the past 18 months, I think we spent roughly about 50 or 60,000 pounds in ad spend for our clients. So we have a pretty good idea in terms of what works and what converts and sort of doesn't work. Yeah, we know what we're doing. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I've seen the results, man, and they're incredible. So I'm super excited to kind of share some big value points today with the audience. I'm going to go ahead and invite a couple more people here as well.
Do that, man.
Let me do that so we get the most people on here. But so how about you give us a little bit of background about how you actually got into this space, if you don't mind?
Sure. Okay. That's a good question. So I've worked in online. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to like online marketing. So I've worked in online marketing now for over 10 years. I worked for some publishers and some other, sort of online companies doing marketing and sales. Oh, there's a bit of feedback there. So yes, okay, no problem. So basically I've been working in the space for a number of years, and then I decided to work for myself in roughly about 2015. So when I first started, I was absolutely obsessed with content and how to create videos and images that basically grab attention and convert strangers into customers. And that was basically the first iteration of my business. And then in 2017, we changed things to become a Facebook ads agency. So we run Facebook advertising campaigns for all of the clinics that we work with across the world. And so, one of the things that has really helped our campaigns to be successful and to win was was my knowledge and my experience from creating content and from creating value videos and adverts and different things like that. See, and content has really been the driving force behind a lot of our most successful campaigns. Okay, so whether it's just been images or whether it's been videos, whatever the case is, it's so important to understand what type of content you need to be producing and creating in order to grab your audience's attention, you see. And, that's what I'm here to talk about today, man. And I really hope that, like my goal at the end of this is that everyone comes away with a very, very clear understanding on the importance of using content, in their advertising campaigns and just in general, when they're posting and stuff as well. And also, to make sure that, that it's helping them to get the attention of their ideal target audience.
Absolutely. I'm excited. So if you guys are looking to know how to make killer content to attract your ideal customers, let us know what's going on, who you are, where you're from, and what you do for work. I'd love to see who's watching on right now. I see we got Alex, Dixie, Katie's here watching, Ashley's here, Shatera, Michelle, Derek, Robert, Bree, Susie's here, Brittany's here. Let us know if you're here. Give us a wave, give us an emoji. Also, let us know who you are, what you do, and where you're from. We'd love to communicate with you guys, and hopefully you guys can ask some questions throughout this too. If you guys are looking to create some killer content, get more clients it doesn't even just apply to the aesthetics industry.
No, it doesn't. No,
all industries, especially in the beauty services space.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
I'm excited to dive right in. So let's rock and roll. So first topic we're going to talk about today is why content is your #1 tool to selling more of your services. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, Kris.
Sure. Okay. So look, at the end of the day, and we ran a survey last year with a group of 400 aesthetic practitioners and also med spa owners, and the survey we ran was quite simply to understand from people what they felt the #1 reason that businesses fail was, right? Okay. Now, a lot of people gave us various answers. Some said, lack of, courage and sort of, procrastinating. Some people said lack of money. Others said lack of education and understanding how to do, market their business or bookkeep or, manage their, their income, etc. Okay. But at the end of the day, the #1 reason that most businesses fail out there, okay, is quite simply obscurity. Okay. AKA, I don't know who the hell you are. Right. So, that is particularly true, whether you are a business that's on a high street, like a main city center or anywhere else. What you need to do is you need to basically get customers to know, like, and trust you before they step into your business. Right. 100%. So, at the end of the day, if obscurity is the #1 reason that most businesses fail, what's the opposite of obscurity? Well, the opposite of obscurity is basically attention, right? So it's going out and grabbing, the attention of your desired target audience, okay, right? So it's basically focused attention from your desired target audience. Now, in 2019, right, think of how difficult that is basically to get someone's attention for any length of time at the moment. We are literally being bombarded today with other businesses, marketing messages, including social media, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, television, Netflix, news outlets, radio, emails, billboards, you name it. All of these different media channels are fighting for people's attention. And at the end of the day, if you as a business owner now are not thinking if you're not thinking like not just a business owner, but also like a content producer and almost like a media company, then quite simply your business model is antiquated. It's old, and you're not going to be able to survive and keep up with and compete with other businesses who are out there creating content, basically continuously and on a large scale.
Right, 100%. You got to have attention. That's like the #1 key to, getting clients is people have to know who you are to do business with you, right? We talk about that all the time.
For sure.
And the only way to really do that is to be aggressive and get yourself out there, whether it be through your content, even if it's, getting out there and, through word of mouth, just getting yourself known. You have to get out and do things that are going to be able to get you the exposure you need to move the needle in your business, right?
For sure.
Again, let us know if you guys are here. I want to see some comments down there. I see Alex, Carla, Bree, Alicia, Trisha's here. Let us know who you are, what you do, where you're from, and let's keep on rolling. What questions do you guys have about content and getting attention? How do you post good content? Maybe you guys have questions about how you can make your content better. Let us know while we're talking here. But Kris, go ahead and continue. You're about to say something.
What I was going to say is I think like there's a really, really good quote by a guy, a really famous author and public speaker, a guy called Joe Paluzzi, who is basically the head of the Content Marketing Institute, right? And I just really want to clarify what the definition is of content for people who may have heard the term but don't really understand the principle behind it. So basically, content, and here's a quote, right? So content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content, which is basically images and videos, to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. Okay,
right.
That's a really, really good quote that summarizes exactly what content is and the actual purpose of content as well. So ultimately, content is media, which is basically presented in the form of, images, videos, text, and audio as well. So the purpose is basically to inform, entertain, enlighten, and to teach people who consume it, AKA is basically your target audience. Yeah,
100%. So what would you say, like, what is the key to creating good content? What would you say, like, what do you want to do in your content? What's the actual desired result? Because a lot of people know that, content is content. I need to make posts and stuff like that. But what type of content do you feel will actually get the result that business owners out there in this space want and need?
Sure. That's a really, really good question, Jordan. So, I mean, as I said, entertaining and informing is are two really, really important parts of basically creating content. But ultimately, your content should basically try to hit the following criteria. Okay, so number one, what's important and this should go into any content that you're creating. Okay, right? So number one, it should be any content that you create should be with an end business goal in mind. Okay. So what I see a lot of people, big mistake I see a lot of people doing is like they'll take pictures of like, if they've been Starbucks or whatever, they'll take a picture of like, a latte or whatever it is that they bought, right? Or they'll take a picture of them walking their dog and just different things that just don't have sort of any business objective, if that makes sense. So number one, when you start creating content and thinking about creating videos and images and all the rest of that stuff, you need to have a very clear business objective in mind. What is it? How is this content that you're creating pushing you towards your goal, your business goals, right? Okay. So that's the first thing. Now, when you're actually creating content, okay, what you need to do is you need to think about what it is that your target audience wants to see, right? And here's a number of different things. And, everyone who's watching can probably make notes on this, right? But your images and videos should basically hit a number of different criteria, okay? So one of the criteria it should hit is definitely it needs to demonstrate transformation, okay? You need to demonstrate taking a person from a before or an after state, right? And that's what all marketing is about. All marketing is about demonstrating transformation or showing, your desired target audience that you can transfer them and take them from one state to another. Okay. Right. So number two, it should also, any content that you create from your target audience's point of view needs to align with your customers' values and beliefs. Okay. So what do your customers value and what do they believe about themselves to be true? Okay. All right. Number three, it should be focused on empowering your customer. So helping your customers to reach their goals, dreams, and desires. Okay. Number four, this is a really good tip, is basically tell a story. Okay. Like, who doesn't love stories, right? So tell a story of, basically a story of transformation. Again, transformation is, a really, really key thing when it comes to creating powerful content that's going to take strangers and convert them into paying customers. Okay. And then also, basically what you need to think about is how does the content that I'm creating offer a solution to my customers' problems. Okay. So say, for example, you've got customers who are struggling with, I don't know, some sort of skin concern like acne or something along those lines, right? How does the content I'm creating basically present a solution to the problem that they're having with, with regards to their skin. Okay. And then finally, no, I don't know if it's number 5 or number 6, right? But finally,
I think that here I can recap. So 1 is like the before and afters, right?
Yes, to demonstrate transformation. Yeah.
Demonstrate transformation. 2 is like finding out or kind of putting out there where your clients are at right now, right? With their current situation. And then 3, what is that desired situation? What are their desires? What do they want to change, right?
Exactly, yes.
And then 4 was the storytelling, telling a story, whether it be through like a client story of how, you can take someone to get from where they're at now to where they want to be. And then 5, you said, how can you present that solution?
Yes, exactly. That's right. And then finally, and 6, and this is important, is basically present a vision of the future. Okay. So basically, tell your customers how they are going to feel or look about them, how they're going to feel about themselves, or how they're going to look in 6 months' time, for example. Yeah. So, tell them, basically tell them how they're going to go about sort of hitting their goals, in the future. Present a vision of the future. Now, if you can produce content that hits any of those markers there, basically you're going to grab the attention of your desired target audience. And what you're going to do, more importantly than that, is you're going to start to build trust and start a relationship with that with that target audience.
100%. I mean, that's what content should do, is start to build that relationship, right? Like, we're creating content right now. We're like building relationships with our audience, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome. So we got a couple more people hopped on. Colette, Taylor, what's going on, guys? Let us know if you're here. Let us know who you are, what you do, where you're from, and let's keep diving right in. So one thing you did want to talk about today is how to convert strangers into customers. How do we do that through our content and potentially through our advertising as well?
For sure. Okay. So what I'm going to give you then, guys, is I'm going to give you guys a really, something that we only reserve for our clients. Okay. And it's basically what I call the perfect video ad formula. Okay. And this is the formula that we use for all of our clients. Okay. Whenever we're making video adverts. Okay. And there's 7 steps to this. Okay. So I'm going to break it down again, guys. You might want to take notes or, just watch the replay. And sort of stop and pause and go through this. Okay. Right. So this is what we call the perfect video ad formula. All right. So step 1, quite simply, is get the audience's attention. Okay. Now, the way you do that, quite simply, is by basically starting off by telling a story. Ask a question of the audience. So say, hey, so for example, or just call the audience out. Okay. So you can say, hey, ladies of, area, or hey, ladies in your 50s, or whatever the case is, right? Call the audience out and then ask a question. Are you struggling with X, Y, and Z? Or have you had problems with blah, blah, blah? Okay. So that's basically get the audience's attention. Is what you do is basically either start off by telling a story. Yeah. Or, essentially, call your audience out directly. So whoever your target audience is, just call them out directly right at the start of the video. Okay. Now the reason we're doing that is the whole purpose is that what we want people to do is basically stop scrolling through their news feed. Okay. And pay attention to our advert or to our posts. And again, the way we're going to do that is by calling out our target audience, and getting their attention immediately. Okay. So that's 100%. Step 1. Step 2 is basically what we're doing is identify the problem. Okay. So what is the problem that your treatment or your services solve? Okay. So start talking about that. Let's just say if you're a hairstylist, you're going to say, are you sick and tired of your hairstyle? Are you fed up with looking the same every day? Do you want to add some spice or, some jazz to your hairstyle? Whatever.
I think what we usually do is like, are you sick and tired of like dull, brittle, breaky hair or something like that?
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
That's how you do that. Like, it's so funny. This is right in line with, how we talk about our advertisements too. So perfect.
Fantastic.
The call out. So step 1, I'm kind of leaving some comments here so they can see it as well, but we may be able to flow it out towards the end here.
Sure.
You said you're going to give them cheat sheet or something, right?
Yeah. You're going to get a cheat sheet at the end of this as well. So leave a comment and say, Kris, give me the cheat sheet, and I'll hook you guys up. Okay.
Hashtag give me the cheat sheet if you guys want this, but he's going to break it down. And we can keep on rocking and rolling. So you got the call out, you got identifying the problem. What's next?
So step 3 is aggravate the problem. So what you're going to do at that point in step 3 is you're going to talk about the problem in more depth. Yeah. So, you know, basically when you go about aggravating the problem, you're going to, you know, think about, you know, what is it preventing your customers from achieving? How does it affect their everyday lives? How does it affect the way, more importantly, the way that they think about themselves? You see? Yeah. So that's what you're going to do. So, you know, the difference between identify the problem and aggravate the problem is identify the problem is you're going to ask a question about, you know, if this is how they're feeling about the problem. And then number 3, you're going to talk more in the context of how they feel, if that makes sense. So you're going to say, are you feeling this way? Does it make you feel like X, Y, and Z? If that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So that's step 3. Step 4, what you're going to do here is basically present your solution. Okay. But you're not going to present your solution in the whole. So you're not going to talk about, you know, what, you know, you're not going to start, you know, talking about how great it is and, you know, all the features and all the rest of that stuff. Right. What you're going to do is you're just going to touch on the solution, and then you're going to quickly transition to the next step. Okay. So presenting the solution looks something like, you know, if that's how you're feeling about your hair, then I have the perfect solution for you. The X, Y, and Z treatment is great for blah, 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 blah. And you're going to cut it short, right? So you're going to just present the solution and stop it right there. Okay. You're not going to, you know, go in depth about what it is. Okay. Yeah. So that's step number 4. All right. Step number 5 is where you establish your authority. Okay. So what you're going to do at that point is basically you're going to demonstrate and become the guide to solving your customer's problem. Okay.
Right.
So you're going to establish your credibility and authority as a practitioner, stylist, or whatever it may be. Okay. As you know, as a real beauty boss. Okay. Yeah. You're going to basically establish your authority at that point. Now, it's important to note, right, that there's a reason that that's step number 5 and not step number 1, right? Most people start with trying to establish their authority right at the beginning. So they're like, most people will start their videos and say, hey, my name is Jane, and I've been a beauty therapist for 20 years, and this is where I work, and this is what I do, etc., right? But the reason this is number 5 and not number 1, okay, and the reason why that is basically the worst way to start any type of video advert promotion or whatever the case is, right? Is because at the end of the day, people don't, I'll be quite frank with you, people don't give a crap about you, who you are, how long you've been running the business, right? What do people care about
them?
Right. They care about themselves, right? So what you're doing at that point is you've already basically got their attention. You've identified their problem. You've called out their problem. And then you've talked a little bit about the solution. Now you can go about establishing your authority and introducing yourself. Okay.
Love it.
That's step 5. Step 6, okay, is basically you're going to explain how it works. Okay. Now, what a lot of people think, especially in the beauty industry, aesthetics industry, etc., a lot of practitioners and sort of med spa owners, they think that basically that everybody, that the treatments that they're doing are like really common knowledge, and it's like everybody knows what cool sculpting is. Everyone knows what laser hair removal is. Everyone knows what whatever treatment it is they're doing, right? And the fact is they don't, right? People don't know. They may have heard of these treatments, but they don't know what the treatment is or what's involved, etc. So step number 6 is basically explain how it works. And the way you're going to do this, right, is by quite simply doing a mini demonstration of the treatment. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the audience step by step of the treatment. Okay. And you're going to outline its benefits. Okay. So what you're going to do quite simply is you're going to say step 1 is, for example, clean the skin. Step 2 is apply the serum. Step 3 is apply the mask. Step 4 is do this, right? So you're just going to take them through step by step along the treatment, okay? Yeah. So that you're giving them a very clear insight in terms of what's involved, okay? Right?
Absolutely.
So you're making sure that any questions that a person could have about the treatment is answered right in that video, right? Yeah.
Then they don't have to waste your time asking you because
exactly.
you're letting them know.
Hey, is this painful? Does this, does this do this? Or how does this work? Or whatever the case is, they can actually see it for themselves visually, step by step how the treatment works. Okay.
Right.
So, that is like super, super important. Not enough people are doing that. All right. Do you have any questions about that?
So is there 6 steps total?
7 steps. Last one's coming up.
We got one more.
7th step. The final one, man, and this is gold, man, is make the offer and have a call to action. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So what you're doing at that point is what is your offer? What is on offer? What is it that you're doing? Okay. Around that particular treatment. Okay. Right. And then you have to include a call to action. So what you're saying at that point is, this is what I have on offer. This is, and this is how you can get it. Okay. So whether that is click the button below to send me a message, or click the button below to apply now to to schedule your appointment, or what, leave a comment below, whatever it is, right? You have to have a call to action. It has to, you have to demonstrate your offer and then give a call to action. Okay. And that call to action is basically giving people the next step in terms of how they can go about continuing to have that relationship with you, and to basically start start having start taking your treatments.
Right. I'm going to recap these right now too as well. So there's 7 steps, and these are for creating strong video content or ads, right?
Perfect video ad formula. Yeah.
Perfect video ad formula. So I'm going to recap this. Let me pull it up real quick, and I'll literally drop these and pin it so that people can have access to this. But you're giving them the cheat sheet. So if you haven't already, go ahead and comment, give me that cheat sheet. And Kris and I will be dropping that to you guys in the comments here. But let me go ahead and pull this up so we can actually recap those. So remind me of step number 1 and summarize it real quick.
Step number 1 is get the audience's attention. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to call out who your desired target audience is, and you're going to be specific. You're not going to be, generalized. You're not going to say, hey, ladies in your 20s to 60s. That's not going to work. You have to be specific. So step number 1 is get the audience's attention.
Get audience's attention. And then what's step number 2?
Step number 2 is identify the problem. Okay. So at that point, you're going to ask them a question, so, hey ladies, hey ladies of, Massachusetts, for example. I don't know why that state came to my head. Hey ladies of Massachusetts, and step number 2 is identify the problem. Are you struggling with acne or acne scarring? Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Get attention, identify a problem. What's step number 3?
Step number 3 is to aggravate the problem. Okay. So then at that point, you're going to ask them how they feel about having that problem. Okay. So you're going to say, does it, do you have to put on, tons of makeup in order to, cover your skin, or, are you sick and tired of not feeling confident about yourself, or whatever the case is? So you're aggravating the problem.
Right. 100%. And this is one thing we always share with our audience here is, like, if you want to be successful and make yourself really stand out, stop trading services for money and start solving problems for money. Right.
That's right.
And so this type of content will allow you to be able to present that. And this cheat sheet is literally applicable to, so many things besides your video content. Like, this is the way you should demonstrate yourself, your services, and your presence online if you really want to get, the best feedback from your audience and actually get people caring about what you have to say. As if you're solving problems, identifying them, getting attention, aggravating the pain a little bit, and showing them the solution. So what's step number 4? Because now we're getting into that solution.
Yep. So step number 4 is basically to present the solution, right? But you're not going to present all of the solution. You're just going to touch on the solution, right? So you're just going to say, if this is how you're feeling, we have the perfect solution for you. Our skin treatment, whatever it may be, is great for X, Y, and Z.
Awesome. Yeah? And so present that solution. And then number 5?
Number 5 is to establish your authority. So this is where you can talk about yourself just a little bit, not a lot, right? Don't start going into, my granddad opened the company, and don't start going into that. Just, you can just touch on yourself, talk a little bit about yourself, and basically become the guide to solving their problem.
Awesome. Love it. And then step number 6?
Step number 6 is basically explain how it works. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to take them step by step through the treatment. You're going to take them step by step through what's involved, how it works, and you're going to explain the benefits of it step by step. So actually do a demonstration, show them what's involved. Love it.
And then the last step, number 7.
Finally, this is where we make the money, man, is make the offer, tell the customer, tell your target audience what's on offer, and then basically give them a call to action. So this is what's on offer right now. This is how you can get, and this is how you can get that offer. This is how you can get that treatment.
Awesome. So I am dropping this in the chat right now, and I'll pin it so everyone who's watching can see it. If you guys are loving this, let us know. Give us some hearts. Give us some comments. Let us know. Sarah said this is all awesome info. Sarah's a permanent makeup specialist. in
Thanks,
our group.
Sarah.
You could definitely benefit from this. You've worked with a lot of permanent makeup artists, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Love it. So the perfect video ad formula. Let me detail this up a little bit and make sure it's showing here. And you're giving them the cheat sheet. So if you haven't already, say, give me that cheat sheet. And we're giving you a cheat sheet for this. The perfect video ad formula, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Give me 1 second. And boom, there it is. So step number 1, get audience's attention. Step number 2, identify a problem. Step number 3, aggravate the problem. How does that make them feel? Present the solution. Step number 4. 5, establish authority. And then 6, explain how it works step by step, and then give them that call to action, making the offer, how they can get this solution and how they can get in contact with you, whether it be, click on the next page or drop me in the comments or call this number, whatever you want that call to action to be. What usually works best for your calls to action?
So normally when I talk about the perfect, or when we go about getting our customers to create a video for following this formula, normally we're doing it for advertising purposes. Okay, right? So what we always do is when we're running this video as an advert, and this video is it's super. If you follow this structure here, it's super powerful. Okay, right? So what we normally want to do is we want basically people, our target audience, to become leads. Okay, so we want them to click in and basically become a lead in order to basically get access to our offer. Okay, so normally we're running an advert, and it's normally a lead form advert where we're asking for the name, telephone number, and also email address. So normally we would say, click the button below to get the offer, or click apply now, or whatever the case is, right? So that normally works pretty well.
I love it. So let us know in the comments, is anyone running ads or has ran ads right now that aren't working? Let us know, and maybe we can not take a look right now, obviously, but we can figure out maybe why that's not working, because most of the time it's because you're not following those steps that Kris just went through and really getting that attention, because there's so many other people out there who are running ads too. So in order to stand out and get your content really visible, really seen, is to be able to create that, amazing, step-by-step system that also hooks people's attention, tells them about what you do, but also solves a problem, right? So I love that. That's awesome, man. So what do you find, and this is a question for you personally, like, what do you find the situation that your clients are usually in when you start to help and work with them? Were they trying ads already? Do they not know what they need to do to grow their clientele? What do most med spas that you work with, what's their biggest problems that they're struggling with?
Sure. Okay. So there's a couple, right? So number one, right? And, again, content is a massive part of this. They just simply don't have enough content, or they haven't really like gone out and been proactive about creating content, right? And like, for me, at the end of the day, apart from an offer, like a really good enticing offer, you have to have content. You have to visually show what you're doing. I mean, imagine, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a great example here. Yeah. Imagine, for example, that you bought a cookbook. Okay. Right. And you had all these like really fantastic sounding recipes in there, and you're going through it, but there aren't any pictures in the cookbook, right? And so you don't know what is supposed, what the end dish is supposed to look like, or, you don't know how many, like, how many onions you're supposed to include, or how you're supposed to dice the onions, or whatever the case is, right? So like, if you don't have that stuff, if you don't have that stuff with, if visually you can't see these things, then basically, your target audience is sort of like left in the dark a little bit about exactly what you do and how you do it, etc. So you have to visibly demonstrate. We're in a very visual era now, where everything is video and images and stuff like that, right? Especially with, on social media. So like, you absolutely have to visually demonstrate what you're doing, right? And just a lot of the med spas and aesthetic clinics that we work with, they do not create enough content. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is, a lot of people would have tried ads, right? They would have tried advertising, and quite simply, they basically they would have had poor results, and that happens for a number of different reasons. Number one, the offer probably isn't strong enough. Number two, and this is like a really major one, right? A lot of people try to run adverts, and they basically go about running adverts the same way that like a McDonald's or like an Apple or like a Coca-Cola would run adverts, where basically they're trying to they're trying to like basically, just put out adverts that just have like, that just get the most amount of views and all the rest of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
one of the common things I hear is like, oh, I had this advert, I put it out, I spent £50 on it, and I got 10,000 views, but there weren't any, nobody called me.
No one booked. No one gave me money.
Right, exactly, right. And the fact of the matter is that you're not a Coca-Cola, you're not a Coca-Cola, you're not an Apple, right? So the type of adverts you need to be running are direct basically direct marketing adverts. You need to basically put out an offer, generate a lead, especially in this type of industry as well, right? If you don't have a business that has like 1,000 franchises or whatever it is across the country, you need to generate leads and drive those leads into your business. So those are some of the most common problems that we find with the clinics that we start working with.
I gotcha. Sarah just asked, she said, we already talked about why my ads don't work. She's in our mastermind group.
Okay.
She was actually having someone run her ads for her, but it was basically, it followed some sort of structure, but it basically just right into saying like, she has this service she called, I hope this is okay, Sarah, the powder brow or something. It just like goes out and say, do you want the powder brow or something like this? And talks a little bit about it, but it never really.
No one knows what the hell a powder brow is, right?
Yeah, that's what I said to her too. And I hope this is okay, Sarah. We're not ragging on you. It wasn't your fault, but like that's the way it was. So it was like it didn't really agitate the pain. It didn't like identify where that person was and how the powder brow solves a problem for them.
Exactly, that's right.
So she got like inquiries, she got messages, she got no bookings at all. And was spending a lot of money to do it. So I think let's go ahead and break down for those that are watching, maybe they don't know what an offer really is or what a lead really is. Could you kind of break it down to layman's terms? Like, first of all, like what is an offer and how and why is that important to a successful post or ads strategy?
Sure. Okay. All right. It's some big questions here, man. All right. Okay, cool. So basically, right. So essentially, your offer is, the purpose of having an offer is basically to exchange something of value. So in other words, your actual services, okay? Exchange something of value for contact information. In other words, basically generate a lead, okay? Or generate an inquiry into your business, right?
What is the lead, by the way, for those that are
lead,
watching?
Okay, so break it down. A lead is basically data, information on your ideal target audience, right? Just to put that into, try and put that into layman's terms, as simple as possible, right? I'm sure a lot of people have probably done this, right? If you've ever like been out anywhere and somebody said, hey, do you want 50% off of this, I don't know, McDonald's meal or whatever it is, right? And, you say, yeah, that sounds great. They'll give you like, maybe something like a sheet of paper that you got to put your name and telephone number and email address on it, right? That is basically a lead, right? So what you're doing is, that person is exchanging something of value in order for your contact information or your data.
Right. Yeah. And 100%. And like, this is the one thing, and like, we're obviously talking to the beauty professionals who are looking to grow and build their clientele, but most of it is usually done through word of mouth. So a lot of people here, maybe they, have ran ads or have boosted posts, but they're not sure like how the process works and how that all comes to be. So let's touch on this really briefly, just for the audience who's watching, and hopefully this is helpful for you guys as well. So basically what we're trying to do is build, a list of people that we can build over time to exchange that contact information with and be able to contact them, right?
That's right.
So the thing there where I see most people go wrong in this industry is usually when they're running ads or they're doing posts or stuff like that. Everything they do is like geared towards, just call me, just message me, just do this. And you're never exchanging, a name, email, and phone number with that person. So if that doesn't happen, that they don't contact you, message you, or anything like that, there's no way to even see if that person was actually interested, so that you can actually follow up with them and make sure that you can get an appointment booked, right?
That's right.
So everything that we do in marketing and advertising is all geared towards building a list of name, email, and phone numbers of people who raised their hand and said, hey, I am interested in what you have to offer. Because even if they don't jump and book an appointment now, you have that contact information to follow up over time. And, you know, later down the road, maybe those people will continue to see your posts. And so like when they are ready, that continued follow-up and that continued, you know, exchange will eventually get them to the point where they'll come to you versus the competition. Right.
Sure. Man, I'm gonna drop some absolute gold on you here, Jordan. Right? I'm gonna drop some absolute gold on you here. Okay.
I'm ready.
Right?
Who wants some gold? Let us know in the comments.
Put a bag of money in the comments right now.
Yeah, bag of money in the comments. All right, let's rock and roll.
All right, cool, man. So look, I'll ask you a question, right? What line of business are McDonald's and Starbucks in?
I guess the restaurant food industry, right?
Okay, right. So you would say that, right?
Yeah.
They are actually in the distribution business. Okay. So basically the stores, so the Starbucks stores and the McDonald's stores, right? They exist to basically distribute their goods and services, their foods out of, right? That's basically their distribution centers for their goods and services. Okay. So at the end of the day, right, as a small business owner, you know, you can use basically leads. You can, when you start generating leads, you then have like a list of, you know, qualified potential customers and prospects. Okay. And at that point, once you start generating those leads and start getting those leads into your business, you then have your own distribution list, right? And at that point, you can do whatever, you could do a variety of different things with that distribution list. You can run advertising to that distribution list. Yeah. You can send emails to that distribution list. You can send SMS messages to that distribution list, or you can pick up the phone and call that list, right? But what you're building essentially is a customer database full of potential prospects, right? So you're then able to distribute your goods, you know, your marketing messages of your goods and services to that distribution list, right?
100%. Yes.
Now, second thing, right? Second bit of gold I'm going to drop on you guys, right? Essentially, there are three types of customers, okay, or three types of leads, right? There are leads who are ready to buy right now, okay, right? And those are what you call 30-day leads. Then there's 60-day leads who are ready to buy within the next 60 days, and then there's 90-day leads, okay, right? Now, what you need to, and maybe I'll draw this on the whiteboard behind me, man, and just, you know.
There we go. Y'all getting a private coaching session.
Can you see this?
Okay. We can see it.
Okay, all right.
So at the bottom where the blank space is,
Yeah. So these are the 30-day leads, right? These are the 60-day leads, and this is the. Can you see this? The 90-day leads, right?
I can see that. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So
I'll put you full on the screen too.
Okay. Cool. All right. So basically, what you know, obviously here when you're running adverts, okay, you know, you can, you know, you are able to acquire. A number of, you know, customers, you know, within 30 days. Okay. However, the money is in these two over here, right? Because not everyone is able and ready to buy right now. Okay.
Right.
So what you need to focus on is, you know, yes, you know, it's good to get, you know, you can get a little bit of money now, but when you continue to market through email, SMS, and also through things like Facebook and Instagram, you know, you will also get the bigger money as well, which is in the 60 days and also the 90-day buyers as well, if that makes sense.
100%. That makes perfect sense.
So, you know, it's good to have a strategy which gets customers in today, but what you really want to focus on is having a more long-term strategy that gets those 60 to 90-day customers in the door as well, if that makes sense. Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's why things like, remarketing to people and, continually advertising on Facebook. That's why it's so important to continue running ads on Facebook. Okay. And that will bring me into what I'm talking about, basically the next thing, which is all to do with value videos as well.
I love that.
Do you have any, before we go into that, do you have any questions about that, Jordan?
I would love to hear if the audience has any questions about that, because like it's so important. And I think this is like the lacking point in this industry again, is that like people don't see the long-term play of their advertising and things like that. So like if they're not getting quick results, sometimes they'll just turn it right off. But if the advertisement's not generating actual leads in the first place, you should turn it off.
Sure.
But if you are generating those leads, you're building your database, like you said. Those people are going to be connected to you for that longer period of time.
That's
so you do want to have something that books people right away. But
That's
just
right.
because it's not booking everyone right away doesn't mean you're not going to book.
It doesn't mean it's a waste of time, right?
Right. Or money.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And what the way that that real serious business owners think about things and look at things is all to do with business pipeline. I'll give you a perfect example of this, right? I had somebody pick up the phone and call me the other day, right? And I spoke to this person a year ago, right? And I completely forgot that I spoke to them, and I'd pitched them and talked to them about my services and stuff, right? They picked up the phone out of the blue, called me. They were like, Kris, can we just go over prices and stuff? I remember I had this conversation. What you said makes sense, but at the time I wasn't in a financial position to go ahead, but I want to go ahead now. And so, I just, I was able, that made my conversation so simple. I could just, speak to them and, close them on my services over the phone. Right. But, at the end of the day, this is all about building a business pipeline. Right. And you can't build a proper business pipeline in 30 days. What I say is that always that the actions that you take today, you will basically, the seeds you plant today, you will always reap them within, over the course of the next 90 days. So,
Absolutely.
what you're doing is you're building a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day business pipeline. And that's why you need to continually advertise. Don't stop. Continue to advertise, continue to send emails out, and just continue to have that communication, always be front of mind for your target audience.
I love that. That's awesome. We do have a question for Katie. She said, so for microblading, how would you see that long-term relationship looking? So I guess maybe the better question is so the long-term relationship for microblading, maybe it's something that, catch me if I'm wrong, but it's something that people aren't going to get done regularly.
Sure.
So how would you see that type of relationship working over a long term through their advertising and marketing?
Sure. Okay. So first of all, I guess with microblading, the problem that your target audience, would face would be, are you tired? Are you fed up of having to, spend half an hour doing your eyebrows and stuff in the morning? Or are you tired of having messy eyebrows, or, your eyebrows are too thin, or whatever the case? Are you fed up of, keep, plucking your eyebrows every day, that type of thing, right? So that would be basically the problem and the pain point. What you would do to basically continue that relationship, I mean, you can use the perfect video ad formula, and that is absolutely, it works every single time. So, I would really advocate that, you structure an advert and follow that process, right? But also what you want to do is, and this is where we're coming on to the value videos, right? Also what you want to do is you want to create videos and create content which you can use over the course of 30, 60, and 90 days, right? Which basically answers the top, let's just say 10 questions about microblading, right? So question number one might be is microblading painful, right? So what you want to do is you want to create a specific video, a 60-second video, which basically answers that question in full, okay? So you want to answer that question about microblading, is it painful, and then, basically answer that question in 60 seconds and maybe give an example of or maybe tell a story of one or two of your customers. Okay. Right. So that might be video one. And then what you want to do is you want to create a series of these videos that are basically answering the number one questions that you get from your customers about these treatments, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to break it down as well, when you're spending your advertising and these people are getting eyeballs on you, that's why content is so important over the long term, because you're basically, if those people see you once, they'll more than likely see you again, right? So even if they said no now, ignored you now, or, didn't book an appointment with you now, that continued content that basically explains more about what you do, why you're the right person to do it when they're ready, is going to allow them to then, when they're ready to pull the trigger, they'll more than likely come to you.
They're going to you. That's right. Yeah. It's keeping you front of mind, and it's continuing to build and establish your authority.
Right. I love that. That's awesome. So that's absolutely perfect for content and stuff like that. What would you say for people who maybe in regards to video content, maybe they haven't done it before. Have you ever worked with clients who like get nervous behind the
Yeah,
camera?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
What
Yeah.
advice would you give to someone to like get over that fear of maybe getting
Sure.
in front of the camera, getting more vulnerable, sharing more
Sure.
stories? What would you say?
Sure. So, I mean, that's a great question, Jordan. And, believe it or not, I felt that way once upon a time as well. I wasn't confident in front of the camera. I was, a nervous wreck. I was always saying the same thing 2, 3 times and, sort of stuttering on my words. And like, to be quite honest with you, there is no magic formula, quick fix, right? It's all about practice. And just doing the same thing, repetition, doing the same thing again and again and again. And don't be afraid if you've done a video already and you feel like, oh man, that video didn't come out well, or it sucked, or whatever the case is. Don't feel afraid. Don't be afraid to redo the video. So if you did that video last month and you look at it again, you're like, man, I could have done a better job. Just redo the video. Just talk about something slightly different and just stick to the same subject. There's nothing wrong with, redoing something, do it in a different setting, do it with a different background, whatever the case is, if that makes sense. But just redo it. And man, as practice makes perfect. Just, go out there, find a couple of people who, go on to things like TED Talks or other things where you see people are presenting and, find a style that you really like and that is agreeable to you, and just basically try to replicate that style. Just try to present the same way that person presents, and that's it really, But man, listen, like, as I said at the beginning of this, if you're not thinking like a media company, right? If you're not thinking, in the point of view of like, I need to consistently be at the forefront of my customers' mind. I need to consistently be producing content to get the attention of my customers, man. Then you've got like a real antiquated, I'm just being honest, man, you've got a real antiquated business model. You have to get in front of your customers consistently and as often as possible.
Absolutely. I love that. And what would you say too, as we're wrapping up here, for the people who are weary of spending consistent money in their advertising? Maybe it's like, the biggest objection I hear is like, oh, I don't have the money. I tried it. It didn't work. And so they never, ever have a chance to get something good running. What advice do you give to those people to be able to maybe find the money for advertising, but also to be consistent with it?
Sure. So I'm gonna be honest here, right? And this might come across a little bit harsh, right? But at the end of the day, you want me to be harsh? Right, okay.
Be hard.
All right, cool. Look, you need to ask yourself, it comes down to this, right? You need to ask yourself, are you an amateur or are you a business owner? Okay, right? At the end of the day, business owners, right? Amateurs, they get by on word of mouth, and they hope that their mum tells their Auntie Jane, to come in and to come in and have your treatments done, or whatever the case is, right? They rely on word of mouth, they rely on referrals and things like that, right? That's how an amateur grows their business. And you know what happens? 9 times out of 10, that person won't be in business in 4 to 5 years, right? And that's just the reality of the situation, right? We know that most businesses fail, before 5 years, okay, right? Some businesses don't even get off the ground, for 12 months, okay, right? So that's how amateurs do it. How proper business owners do it is they invest in a business and they basically convert strangers into customers, okay? And the way that they do that is through advertising. Yeah. Right. So you need to do some very, when people say things like, oh, well, I don't have money and I don't do this. And, I'm not sure about that. Right, man, you're gonna have to suck it up and just learn how to advertise. You're gonna have to suck it up. You're gonna have to take a course like your course, Jordan. You have to take a course. You have to learn how to run adverts for your business, how to advertise your business, how to get in front of your ideal target audience. Okay. Right. Like at the end of the day, that's what real business owners do. Real business owners scale at will. They get the attention of their ideal target audience, and then they basically convert strangers into customers. That's the only way to grow and scale your business. You can't rely on your mom, your dad, your auntie to spread the word about your business, man. It's just, the harsh reality is your business is just not going to grow. It's not going to take off. You absolutely have to start running ads, right? And like at the end of the day, for me as a business owner, like I had to, when I started off, I had to build that the advertising budget. So right now we spend about £1,000 a month on our ads, which in dollars is probably about 1,400 or $400 per month on our ads. But we literally started with zero. What we did, we just basically put aside, we invested in a couple of courses first of all, right? And then when we started running ads for our own business, we then started we then put aside like £100, £200, £300. We just started saving, basically built up that budget a little bit.
On the fire.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Just built up that budget, man. And that's what you got to do. If you're starting at the bottom, you just got to, learn how to do it, right? It's a skill that every business owner needs. They need to know how to market their business, how to get sales into the business, right? So that's the first thing, is invest in the knowledge and the understanding of how to do that. And then second of all, start building up that budget slowly but surely, and you'll get there, but you have to, this is a mindset thing, man.
100%.
You have to understand, am I an amateur or am I a business owner? And if you're a business owner, then business owners scale their business and basically convert strangers into customers at will.
I love that 100%. Sarah said you got to find a way to get the money. You didn't just complain about why your situation sucks. If you want to change it, you got to do something about it. Exactly,
man. You got to take action, right? You got to learn how to do it, right? Learn how to do it. Learn how to run it yourself, or whatever the case may be. And then, start investing slowly and surely into it. Look, man, when I started running my business, I didn't know anything about accounting. I didn't know anything about bookkeeping. I didn't know any of that stuff. Right. But I had to teach myself how to do it until otherwise, like my finances are going to be in chaos. How am I going to know if I'm running a profitable business or not? You have to learn these things until I got to the point where I could then hire an accountant and then hire a bookkeeper. You see?
This is where I think people go wrong in this industry too, is they're looking already to just hire someone to do it for them. And they don't know what they're getting. And they usually most of the time realize that I can't really pay someone every single month if they don't know what they're doing, because then I'm just burning money. Right.
That's right.
And so it's so much smarter and so much better to learn yourself and be able to do it yourself, especially in this industry when mainly it's basically most of the time you're working with clinics and stuff who have, maybe teams and staff and stuff like that. But if you're like the solopreneur, the one man, one woman show, you got to figure it out yourself. You got to get out of your head, go learn some shit, just do it. Right.
Listen, man, there are certain things and skills as a business owner that you absolutely 100% have to have knowledge on. You have to be able to do skillfully. And two of those things is marketing and sales. If you don't know how to market your business, you don't know how to sell your skills and the treatments and stuff you offer, you're not going to have a business. It doesn't matter who you outsource this shit to. Excuse my language, you have to be able to understand and have the fundamentals of these skills in order to grow your business. And then when you get to a certain point and you're busy and your diary's full and you're looking to take on and hiring more people and stuff like that, right? That's the point where you're saying, all right, cool. Do you know what? I think I'm in a position now where I can outsource this work to someone else. Right. But, when you're starting out, man, you have to learn this stuff yourself, man. These are fundamentals of business.
100%. I think it's so valuable. If you guys are enjoying this, give Kris some hearts, give us some thumbs up and stuff like that. Sirocco said you can only learn and grow by experiences. So
for sure,
we're wrapping up here, man. I appreciate you taking the time out.
That's all right, man.
Before we go, where can people get more access to you, learn more about what you're up to, and potentially even, hear about all the stuff that you do if they're interested as well?
Sure, man. Yeah, that's great. So, you can basically add me as a friend. We have a fantastic group which is called Aesthetic Clinic Growth Secrets. Okay, it's quite long. Aesthetic Clinic Growth Secrets. So definitely go over to that group, join up in the group. I'm creating content. Just like Jordan, I'm creating really, really valuable stuff in there, and I'm giving you guys tips and hints on how to sell your services and your treatments better. And go over there, connect with me, man, and stay in touch. If you got any questions or anything, leave them in the comments or just send me a direct message, and I'll be really happy to help you out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, man. And again, you guys are you're going to be giving away that video ad formula, perfect video ad formula cheat sheet. So if you guys want access to that, be sure to type in hashtag #GimmeThatCheatSheet, and Kris and I will send that to you. And I'll go ahead and let you go, man. We're a little bit over on time, so I appreciate it again. All the way from London. What time is it there right now?
Man, it's after 7 p.m., so I need to go home
All
and
right,
have my dinner.
you got to go home. All right, man. Well, appreciate it.
All right,
We'll
Jordan.
talk to
Thanks,
you later.
man.
I'll see you around. All right, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Take care,
Thank
man.
you. Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
See you.